We get it. The Marlins do not spend money. They're cheap. They're ruining baseball as much as the Dodgers are put in a salary floor right now. Sell the team, move out of Miami. But wait, y'all, hold up. Once upon a time, the Miami Marlins made a huge splash. And just to prove that this was actually real, because it seems completely alien and AI, here it is. $118 million, 7th in the entire MLB. This was more money spent that season than the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. 2012 was only the second time in club history of now 34 years that the Fish cracked the top 10 in payroll. They would never even get above 20th ever again. Luckily, the Marlins put the money to good use. They showed all the naysayers who said baseball in South Florida couldn't work. Giancarlo Stanton broke the all-time home run record. Screwberry Bonds, Hanley Ramirez definitely didn't get traded, and Heath Bell lived up to the $27 million en route to a Marlins World Series win, their third in franchise history. They didn't lose to Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Terry like their cross-down friend. Come on! How did you do that? How will that affect Hanley's legacy? Don't remember this happening? Well, you must be either 10 years old or you've been living under a rock. Instead, the Marlins got embarrassed. Nearly every single signing completely missed. They were cooked by the All-Star break. They had to sell at the trade deadline, losing the trust of fans, changing the mentality of the front office for a decade to come, culminating with extreme attendance issues years later, and the worst of all, Mr. Chud, Derek Jeter, taking over the team, removing the best thing to ever happen to Marlins Park, the home run sculpture, of course, and the second best thing to happen to the park, the freaking fish tanks, ruining everything Miami about the team and becoming the franchise of despair. So how did this all come about? You guys know I hate sitting down and scripting and making these storytime videos that you see all over sports YouTube, but this just stayed in my brain for weeks on, and this was such an aberration from the typical Miami Marlins, the 2012 team, the rebrand. It was so crazy. I just had to make a video about it because the MLB wants us to forget. Rob Manfred is trying to scrap this from our memory. Any guesses for why the Marlins went from 23rd in payroll to 7th, nearly doubling their money spent from 2011 to 2012? And it wasn't change of ownership, I'll give you that hint straight up. Was it because the December 21st, 2012 end of the world phenomenon? Shit, we might as well blow the trust. No, it wasn't. Was it because owner Jeffrey Loria got laid for the first time ever at like age 60? Feeling really good about himself? I'm that dude, let's let it rip? No, you idiot. Get your head out of the gutter. The Marlins did what my Oakland Athletics couldn't do, what the Montreal Expos couldn't do, and what the current Tampa Bay Rays are struggling with, the demise of most MLB front offices, the new stadium deal. The Marlins and Loria had finally negotiated for the taxpayers to build them a new stadium for 2012 because they needed it. They spent their entirety as a franchise in the doomed multi-purpose Sun Life Stadium, heaps and heaps of those orange empty seats, the upper deck, struggling attendance, aging facility, 2 World Series championships in 97 and 03 that seemed like ages ago, and a team that had not made the playoffs besides those wild runs. A new stadium with the same old logos and colors. You cannot do that, guys. That's like going into college with a long-distance high school girlfriend. Trust me, it literally never works out. We're embracing the Miami roots. Florida Marlins, leave that to the Rays, man. The bright Miami colors, the M, the orange uni, so ridiculously tough. And for the stadium, we're not going to be boring or corporate or Jeter. The coolest home run feature in the MLB. I said it. Look at that, baby. It makes sense, y'all. The owner is literally an art dealer. The fish tank, how unique and cool. Now I can bring my toddler and my baby mama to the game. We have the Clevelander in the outfield if you want to get a little sexy bright green. This is Miami. The Marlins were on a revival mission of South Florida baseball. It was the perfect hype train. The branding, the stadium, the city already in a great mood with the recent success of the Miami Heat. The final piece of the puzzle would be solving a team that went 72 and 90 in 2011, finishing in the basement of the NL East. By the way, MLB just added a second wild card for the 2012 season, so it would make things even easier. It was time to spend money. Wait, hold up. Time to trade for a manager. Trading for a manager, not a star, not a prospect, a manager. Ozzie Guillen acquired from the White Sox for a guy who played 34 total major league games and a player who made it as high as rookie ball. Guillen had won the World Series with the White Sox in 2005, another irrelevant World Series to most baseball fans, but for some reason, he was kind of hated everywhere because he was wild. He would say whatever was on his mind. His personality, it was pretty admirable. Guillen is not why this team suck balls. In baseball, 90% of times, it's not the manager's fault. If the players don't come through, that's nothing on you. The front office makes all the decision anyways. Guillen did not get fired after this season because of the results. It's because he publicly said that he loved Fidel Castro in April of the season. The season had just started. New ballpark, new brand. Oh my gosh, this doesn't sound real. The new era quite literally couldn't have got off to a more controversial start. A public outrage, a 5-game suspension, an apology, tears, tough discussions. But how about the other fresh meat for the Marlins? Mark Burley, the innings-eating legend, used to eat innings like Zion Williamson would eat burgers back in 2019. The 4-time All-Star World Series winner pitched a perfect game, already used to play under Ozzie Guillen. It's all great, but hold up. 4 years, $58 million, the second largest free agent contract in Miami Marlins history to a 33-year-old soft tosser. What are we doing? That they traded right after the season. He was supposed to be one of the horses on a winning team. They would build around the veteran, but Burley didn't have a good 2012 for his high standards. Didn't have a bad year. His ERA was a solid 3.74, but posted one of his lowest win totals of his career at 13-13. Before we talk about more misses, how about a very short-term bright spot? Jose Reyes, Mr. Awesome Personality, clubhouse guy, perfect face of a franchise, 4-time All-Star with the Mets, batting champion in 2011. The Marlins thought, we have to swing big. 6 years, $106 million, by far the largest contract in franchise history. LeBron, we are coming for you. Second best on the team for WAR amongst position players. 26-game hit streak, 40 stolen bases, good vibes, but not even this could help the Marlins win. They traded him right after the season as well. So long. The next one is kind of sad because before Miami, Heath Bell was him. All-Star in 9, 10, and 11. More than 40 saves in all of them. The Marlins got their starters locked in, including a trade to get the crazy Carlos Zambrano from the Cubs, who started hot, fell into a rut, got moved back to the bullpen, and never played another major league season after 2012. Now they have a back-end staple until Bell couldn't get out of his own way, blowing 3 saves in April. Guillen and the front office were perplexed. They felt pressured for the 34-year-old to keep the closer role because of the 3 years, $27 million they gave him, but eventually his performance gave the Fish no choice. Bell was demoted and put in lower leverage spots, opening the door for a great story, letting the young sidearmer Steve Cishek take over and blossom, eventually becoming the key closer for the next few seasons. Want another great story from this team? It was on a budget. Your Walmart rookie contract, Giancarlo Stanton. Just like the Marlins, he rebranded in 2012 too, because the prior season he was Mike Stanton, 22 years old, all-star. He hit 37 bombs in 2012, 155 OPS plus for all you freaking nerds, a team-leading 5.4 WAR. The funny part, after this entire franchise spending spree, the most productive player on the Marlins was making $500K a year. But the sad part, Giancarlo would miss time because of a knee surgery during a crucial stretch of the season pre-trade deadline, where the Marlins would nosedive and be unable to score runs. But a guy for Miami who was also supposed to be the future was Hanley Ramirez, prime of his career in 2012, 28 years old, already a 3-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, batting title winner, under contract till 2014. But much like the theme of this video, guys, the lights were too bright. He was hitting 246 that season, and it was time to move on for Loria and co. To the Dodgers he went, and Hanley would. It was. The Marlins struggled out of the gate in the new ballpark, going 8-14 in April, but in the month of May, it quite literally was the best month in franchise history, winning 21 games. In early June, they were in first place. All the money was in the right places, but for the aforementioned underperformance of those guys, they flailed the rest of the way, finishing a measly 69-93. That is 3 games worse than 2011. They spent approximately $50 million more. Yes, $50 million more to become worse. The project New Ballpark, get fans excited, completely flopped. The next 5 seasons, the Marlins went back to normal spending. They had young talent come and go. Loria sold in 2017 to the group that was headlined by Derek Jeter. Jeter completely rebranded the team again, went through a full fire sale again. They did reach the playoffs twice, but we seem to be in the exact same spot in 2026. Low interest in the team, low payroll with some decent talent. Anyways, let's get into my theories on why this 2012 spending spree project failed. First one is pretty weak, I can't lie. The added pressure of the new ballpark and branding and hype and the overpaid players plus coaching staff was just too much. The group could never relax, get loose, and be the players that they once were. Yeah, that's a shitty theory. The real reason, in my humble opinion, it was just horrible timing for the Marlins to splurge. This was right before the analytics and StatCast revolution. At this time, teams would constantly pay older and more proven players based on what they used to provide and not what advanced statistics could project going forward. They would think, oh, player X, 30-something years old, had a batting title a couple years ago, or hey, this pitcher has an X ERA. He should be all right for us. They didn't have the resources available like we do now to go under the hood and see what the future is more often than not. Now, I understand neither did the rest of the teams, but ultimately, if the Marlins were going to choose 1 year to go all in their franchise history, which literally happened, it's so weird because most teams stay consistent under the same ownership group. Still so strange. They would have been better off doing this in, let's say, 2017. They could have at least gotten more value per dollar and made wider acquisitions that worked. And imagine the first season is a hit. The revenue that they could have got from that, they could have piggybacked. Who knows? If the Marlins succeeded in 2012, it could have been a snowball effect where they could have been a top tier franchise. They could have spent, made the money back, done this year in and year out, build the trust of the fans, which they have so many problems. That could be a whole different video, but shit, if money predicted champions, where have the Yankees been since 2009? What about the recent Padres? All of that. If you told an MLB newbie or maybe a 7-year-old growing up in the 2020s, 2025 plus era of baseball that the Miami Marlins one season outspent the Los Angeles Dodgers, they wouldn't believe you and they'd probably laugh. It seems like everyone and their mom has forgot about this. I watched a documentary on it. It was absolutely crazy. I'm not a Marlins fan, but I want to see them succeed so bad. They deserve it. It's sad to watch teams not be able to fill the stands and not have the interest and have a constant cycle of rebuilding. By the way, this jersey, don't buy jerseys for full price. Buy them from China. I got this for like 20 bucks. Yeah, the MLB logo on the back is botched. Yeah, it's a Gene Segura throwback from like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, I cropped it. Yeah, I wore this jersey 4 days straight during my final year of college because I was like, yeah, I just love it so much, man. I'll be feeling so good in it. But anyways, end of the video. What do you guys think about the 2012 Marlins?